The alien mothership hovered silently above Earth's atmosphere, its sleek, obsidian hull reflecting the light of the planet's sun. Inside, General Torthak of the Kravak Dominion gazed at the blue-green orb with disdain. This was to be the final conquest, an easy victory that would solidify their dominance across the galaxy. After all, Earth was classified as a primitive world, its inhabitants bound by petty squabbles, outdated weaponry, and fragile biology. "Prepare the invasion fleet," Sorthak commanded, his voice echoing in the command chamber. "Target the largest concentrations of population and resources. This conquest will be swift." The Kravik ships descended like shadows through Earth's atmosphere, each carrying soldiers armed with advanced energy weapons and battle exosuits. One such ship was assigned to secure a highly strategic region marked by vast open space, presumed to be a staging ground for human defense. The humans called it the Movav Desert. As the dropships landed, the Kravak soldiers disembarked, their exosuits adjusting to the planet's gravity. The landscape was barren and scorching, an endless expanse of sand and rugged terrain. The heat was oppressive, even for the Kravak, whose physiology thrived in cooler environments. General Torthak observed the operation from the mothership, his clawed hand stroking his chin. Strange. There are no signs of resistance. Had the humans abandoned this region? On the ground, Commander Rithak, leading the desert detachment, issued orders. Deploy the resource extractors. Scan for human infrastructure or defenses. His troops complied, spreading out to secure the area. The Kravik underestimated the desert, assuming it to be as lifeless as the barren moons they had conquered before. But the desert had its own defenses. Hours passed, and the temperature continued to rise. The Kravik troops, though equipped with cooling systems, began to falter. Their energy reserves, optimized for efficiency, were drained rapidly in the intense heat. Sandstorms swept through the area, clogging equipment and reducing visibility. Communication with the mothership grew sporadic. "This environment is hostile," one soldier grumbled, his voice distorted through the comms. "How do the humans survive here?" Commander Rithak ignored the complaint and focused on his scanner. Suddenly, the device beeped erratically. "Unidentified movement," he reported. "Multiple targets approaching." The Kravak prepared for combat, their weapons trained on the horizon. But what emerged from the shimmering heat waves wasn't an army. It was animals. Massive, horned creatures the humans called bighorn sheep, darting across the rocky terrain with surprising agility. Rithak scoffed. "False alarm, just wildlife." Then came the insects. Swarms of tiny, buzzing creatures, mosquitoes, gnats, and flies, descended upon the Kravak, bypassing their shields and exploiting every small opening in their armor. Soldiers swatted at the pests, but the relentless assault was unlike anything they had encountered on other worlds. "This is intolerable," one soldier shouted as he stumbled, his exosuit's systems overloaded by the combined heat and the insects clogging its vents. And then, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the real terror began. The temperature plummeted rapidly, catching the Kravik off guard. Their systems, calibrated for a uniform climate, struggled to adapt. To make matters worse, the desert's nocturnal inhabitants emerged. Coyotes howled in the distance, their eerie cries echoing through the darkness. Scorpions and snakes slithered across the sand, some venturing dangerously close to the invaders. "Commander, our troops are faltering," a subordinate reported. "We cannot hold this position." Before Rithak could respond, the sound of engines roared through the night. A convoy of human vehicles appeared on the horizon, their headlights cutting through the darkness. These weren't tanks or advanced war machines, but rugged pickup trucks equipped with what appeared to be improvised weapons. Yet the humans wielding them moved with confidence, their familiarity with the terrain evident. The Kravak opened fire, their energy weapons lighting up the night, but the humans were faster, their vehicles weaving through the terrain with ease. They used the desert itself as a weapon, kicking up sand to obscure the aliens' vision and luring them into rocky choke points. One human, standing atop a truck bed, shouted into a megaphone, his voice laced with defiance. "Welcome to Earth, invaders. Hope you enjoy our hospitality. Explosions rocked the area as the humans unleashed a barrage of crude yet effective explosives. The Kravak, disoriented and outmatched in this unfamiliar environment, began to retreat. From the mothership, General Korthak watched in disbelief as his forces faltered. How is this possible? This is a primitive species. An advisor hesitated before responding. It appears, General, that the humans have adapted to even the harshest conditions of their world. The desert is their ally. Korthak clenched his fists, his confidence shaken. The Kravak had underestimated Earth, not just its people, but the planet itself. And as the humans celebrated their victory in the desert, the general realized that this conquest would not be as easy as he had assumed. The once pristine deployment zone of the Kravak Desert Detachment had descended into chaos. Smoke from smoldering alien machinery mixed with the cool night air, while human vehicles circled the retreating aliens like predators closing in on wounded prey. The humans weren't just fighting to survive, they were enjoying themselves. Is this a joke to them? Commander Rithak growled as another makeshift explosive, a propane tank rigged with nails, landed near his position and erupted in a violent blast. It's not just the humans, Commander, one soldier reported, his voice crackling over the comms. This entire planet is hostile. It's as if it was designed to resist us. Rithak cursed in his native tongue. The Kravak were a proud species, having subjugated dozens of worlds, but nothing in their extensive military training had prepared them for an environment that fought back. Between the unrelenting wildlife, the unpredictable terrain, and the resourceful humans, the desert felt alive, a cunning adversary in its own right. We need air support, Rithak barked into his communicator. Request immediate extraction and firepower from orbit. Silence. Command, do you read? Still nothing. High above the battlefield, General Korthak stood before the mothership's communication array, frowning as the signal from the desert detachment flickered in and out. Interference from the planet's electromagnetic field, combined with the humans' apparent ability to jam signals, rendered long-range communication unreliable. General, his advisor spoke cautiously, we are detecting human aircraft scrambling from nearby bases. They appear to be targeting our dropships. Belorthak's scowl deepened. What kind of aircraft? Fighters? Bombers? No, sir. They're repurposed civilian vehicles. Helicopters armed with machine guns and rocket launchers, crude but effective. The general slammed his fist onto the console. How are these primitives able to repel us with such outdated technology? The advisor hesitated before replying. It seems, General, that the humans excel at adaptation. They are leveraging their terrain, their tools, and their ingenuity to counter our superior firepower. Back on the ground, the Kravak detachment faced mounting pressure. The humans had adopted a hit-and-run strategy, using their knowledge of the desert to strike swiftly and retreat before the aliens could mount a counterattack. Every attempt by the Kravak to establish a defensive perimeter was thwarted by the relentless assaults. Rithak ducked behind a boulder as bullets ricocheted off his exosuit. One of his soldiers stumbled beside him, clawing at his armor as a venomous snake slithered away. This is madness, the soldier gasped, his breathing labored. The humans aren't the only threat. The very ground beneath us is trying to kill us. Rithak glanced at the horizon, where the faint glow of approaching headlights signaled yet another human attack. His once unshakable confidence was gone, replaced by a growing sense of dread. Fall back to the dropships, he ordered, his voice tinged with desperation. We'll regroup and... A thunderous roar interrupted him. From the distance, a massive dust cloud rose, illuminated by the moonlight. The humans had brought reinforcements, vehicles bristling with more improvised weaponry, alongside dirt bikes and ATVs that zipped across the sand like phantoms. At the forefront of the convoy was a massive truck, its flap carrying what appeared to be a salvage anti-aircraft gun. A human man stood atop it, his cowboy hat tilted against the wind and a cigarette dangling from his lips. Howdy, folks, he shouted through a loudspeaker. You'll pick the wrong sandbox to play in. The truck's mounted gun roared to life, unleashing a barrage of shells that tore through the Kravak ranks. The aliens scattered, their once cohesive formation reduced to chaos. On the mothership, General Torthak watched the scene unfold with disbelief. The humans weren't just fighting back, they were dominating. "This is unacceptable," he snarled. "Deploy the orbital cannons. We'll turn that desert into glass if we must." "General," the advisor interjected, "the humans have positioned their forces too close to our own. Firing on them would risk eliminating our troops as well." Borthak clenched his jaw. Every instinct screamed at him to press the attack, to crush the humans and assert Kravak's superiority. But the reality was clear. Earth was no ordinary world, and its inhabitants were no ordinary prey. "Order the retreat," he said bitterly. "Recover what forces you can and fall back to the mothership." As the alien dropships began their ascent, the humans erupted into cheers. The convoy of desert warriors gathered in the aftermath, their makeshift vehicles battered but still functional. The man in the cowboy hat tipped it with a grin, surveying the retreating ships. "That'll teach him to mess with the Movav." One of his companions laughed. "Think they'll come back?" "Maybe," the man replied, lighting another cigarette. "But next time, they'll know what they're up against." The humans stood victorious, their resolve unshaken. The desert, once deemed a weakness, had become their greatest ally. A reminder to any who dared invade Earth that this planet was more than just a world. It was a fortress, and its people were its fiercest defenders.